Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week here on the Duncan Duo Show, like we are every Sunday, talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market and everything going on in Tampa Bay. I want to thank everyone for coming out to my appreciation event on Saturday. We had a great time, incredible event. I think we had around 750 people that asked for tickets. I'm not sure the final count was pretty busy, but I just want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting us at that event. And it's something we do every year. Amalie Arena is a great partner of ours with the Lightning. And, again, just grateful to be able to provide that experience. I also spoke at the Hometown Titan retreat this week with Wade Sweikel from Two College Brothers. Had a great time dropping some knowledge for other real estate agents as well as home service professionals. If you're ever seeking a speaker for a real estate event, please do speak out, or an entrepreneur event, please speak out. I'm always looking to do local events. If you're not local, probably not for me. I don't want to travel too much, but if you've got local events that you need a real estate speaker for, I am always interested, so make sure to reach out. You can do that on all of our socials at The Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, for any of your real estate speaking needs. But I want to first start out today with kind of the topic of the moment right now that everyone's talking about that's attached to real estate, and it's kind of this roller coaster that we have going on in the financial markets. So this week and last week, we've had the announcement of tariffs, the rollback of some tariffs, and just a massive roller coaster in both the stock market and the bond rates. And so when the market, it's kind of interesting because people think that like they're connected, but they're realistically not connected. They're kind of perpendicular, congruent a little bit. So when the stock market is volatile, you see the same thing happening with bonds and mortgage rates on a daily basis. I think at one point about a week ago, we had probably the lowest point that we'd seen in mortgage rates in a long time. And then the stock market recovered and then it dropped. So the reality is that tariffs are going to have an impact on real estate, but not the massive impact outside of the psychological. So certainly it makes it more volatile to lock an interest rate because one day they may be up. Another day, they may be down a quarter point or a half point, but there's definitely a lot of volatility. So as the stock market goes up and down, the bond market goes down and up, meaning that mortgage rates are ebbing and flowing in some ways opposite of what's happening with the real estate market, or not the real estate market, the stock market. So if you're a home buyer, a real estate agent, a mortgage lender in this season, one of the recommendations I'm going to make to you is to do your best to really stay educated on what happens with Treasury bond rates, how the Fed rates impact mortgage rates, and then, cautiously guiding your clients the best that you can on locking their interest rates. If they lock on the wrong day, the market's in a volatile place, it could cost them money. So it's going to be, there's going to be a little bit of science involved with locking interest rates right now, and people are going to have to be cautious doing that. So the other side of the tariff equation is that the majority of the tariffs, certainly there's some building materials and appliances and things like that trickle down into new construction, and then new construction sales from an appraisal standpoint trickle into resale values. So of course there is some impact on real estate values if the tariffs end up sticking or what depends on getting negotiated. The president now is negotiating with 50 plus nations to come up with fair trade agreements to try and put the U.S. in a better position. And as he goes through that path, depending on what those agreements are, will depend on how much of it trickles down into a home. As far as resale homes, though, those are homes already constructed. They already have all of their materials, supplies. They've already been built. So tariffs on a direct basis don't have a massive impact, really more of an indirect one. The biggest obstacle that tariffs and the ebb and flow of the real estate market and the up and down of the stock market have is causing people psychologically to be afraid. If you look at any of the trackers, fear is out there right now. And it's fear simply because there's a lot of there's a lot of volatility and there's a lot of new announcements, but I also think the fear is promulgated by the messaging that whatever news source you follow is putting out to you. If I talk to someone who's watching more conservative news cycles, they're not as afraid. If I talk to someone who's watching more liberal news media, they're more afraid. And it's simply because if you look, and it's really kind of funny, if you look at how the framing about what's happening with the stock market and tariffs is framed, two competing news stations will frame it completely differently. It's either Trump is evil or Trump's the greatest thing ever. And so whether you agree with either one of those or you're somewhere in between, the reality is that where you're getting your information is going to cause you to have some bias with taking action right now. And if there's anything I've learned over 20 years in the real estate business, is that any kind of volatility or fear that happens, people are looking for a reason to step away. They're looking for a reason not to buy. Okay. They're not necessarily looking for a reason to buy. Most of the time, the opposite is happening. They're looking for a reason to disqualify a house. They're looking for a reason to disqualify a city or a neighborhood. People are just naturally more pessimistic in a lot of ways. So they're looking for a reason to back away. And there's a lot of reasons right now, especially with how it gets promoted. During 2022, for example, we had a 20-30% drop in the market over a time frame as well. That was simply classified as a correction and it's normal. And then the same thing happens in this presidency, and it's turned into, oh my God, my 401k is going to go to zero. So it's really the messaging that's out there that's causing people. And what I would tell you is to really kind of look at facts and research and don't fall into these clickbait articles about what's going to happen. And, because the media a lot of times wants to scare you. They want to scare you so you don't take action, so you don't better yourself. They want to scare you because they know that's what gets your eyes and keeps you watching it. So when they release an article about how the tariffs are going to crash the real estate market or how this is going to happen, what ends up happening is that it causes people to keep watching it. Okay, so they keep money. They keep making money. And so in reality, as long as you're not selling your stocks, it really doesn't matter. They go up, they go down over a historic period of time. They always recover. So, try not to let the short-term happenings in the stock market, especially if it's an asset you're holding for the long term, affect your real estate purchasing decisions, because that's essentially what some of the news media wants to do. It is an incredible time, if you think about it, to buy real estate in our market. There is a lot of upside. People don't realize this, but there are a lot of deals. There's a lot of people moving because they're feeling the remnants and the consequences and the fear of another hurricane season for those that went through it and maybe went unscathed, or those that did get hit and now have had to jump through the hoops of trying to get repairs or trying to get insurance money. So there's a segment of people where there's homes coming available with some motivated sellers. There's a segment of people that, and again, there's a segment of people that moved during COVID because our state was free, right? We were allowed to do stuff. And then they got here and they went through a hurricane and it scared them so much that they're bouncing, right? So there's people leaving for that. The other thing I think is you've seen the last couple of years, we really haven't seen a lot of appreciation. So our home prices have kind of been stagnant. And if there's anything I've learned over my 20 years, it's the period of time that they're stagnant, it's going to pop. It's going to go in the other direction. And a lot of people are predicting that for 2026 for our real estate market, and I am as well. And there's a lot of factors going into that. And so you don't want to try and buy when the market's exploding, okay? There are people selling their homes right now that overpaid a few years ago because they got caught in the, now I should buy because it's exploding. You need to buy before it explodes. You don't want to follow the masses. When you follow the masses, just remove the M. That's who you're following. You don't want to follow the masses. You don't want to wait till it pops. You want to do it before that. You want to have some understanding. And in my experience, $3 billion in sales, have built a real estate empire. We're in a great time for Florida real estate. There are a lot of positive things coming in the next couple of years that I think we're going to see another spike again. So let me explain why. Well, number one, a lot of predictions that we see some interest rate relief this year, up to maybe 0.75 of a point to 90 basis points by the end of the year. That's a big drop. If you look at it, let's just say hypothetically, and I want everyone to understand everyone's credit profile is different. The loan product that you're going to use is different. The term, the down payment, all that. So I'm going to use some rough figures. Okay. Let's just say rates right now around 6.7. Okay. If we get down into the fives, if we get to 5.7, okay, that is, theoretically about a 15% cut in the total interest rate. That's a massive drop in payments and affordability for people when prices aren't spiking that much, okay? So there's that's on the equation this year. Knock on wood, assuming potentially, hopefully, prayerfully, we don't have any other major storms this year, okay? Statistically speaking, we probably won't. I hope we don't. I pray we don't. So we don't have any of those, which killed our market in the fourth quarter. Sales rebound, interest rates drop. A lot of these current policies get smoothed out by the end of the year, and I think we have a better 2025 than we had 2024. Now, expectations are in 26, rates drop even more. If we get a 4 in front of those rates again, or a low 5, even just with that, the market's going to pop, and we're going to see appreciation again because there's so much pent-up people out there, so many pent-up people that are just waiting to get rates closer to where they are. They're sitting in homes with 2, 3, and 4% interest rates, and they're not going to buy at 6 or 7 or maybe even high 5. You get down to low 5 or 4s, those people are going to move, and they're going to move up. Okay, they're wanting to move up now, but they don't want to give up their low rate. Another thing that's out there that I think again could hypothetically pop our real estate market. A lot of discussion in our state about property tax abolishment, major property tax relief. One of the biggest complaints I've heard the last couple of years has been cost of insurance. Well, your cost of insurance is way less than the cost of your property taxes. And the reason people are complaining about insurance isn't because most people are stroking a check for their insurance bill. It's because their payment. Their taxes go away. You're going to hear a lot less complaints about the insurance stuff. Your taxes go away, and it's your payment gets to be like what it would be if you had a 2 or 3% interest rate. You don't want to buy after that. You want to buy before that. And the chances are pretty good, in my opinion, just looking at Republican House and Senate, Republican governor, and a lot of the energy that's behind it, a lot of the messaging that's out there. It will require a 60% constitutional amendment, but considering the number of homeowners here and the number of people in the real estate and mortgage and construction industry, I think there's a really good chance. Now, I don't think it's going to be a complete abolishment. My prediction, just speaking to a couple of local legislators, is there'll be some sort of abolishment for homestead properties below certain price ranges. I think there'll be some sort of additional protection on investment and commercial properties, some relief for them. But I think where they're really going at is the homestead individual homeowner. And realistically, even if your home goes above and you don't get the full abolishment or you own commercial property, the domino effect of abolishing property taxes for that large of a segment of the population will massively improve our real estate market. And if you wait until after those things happen to buy, you're going to pay way more. You're going to get stuck in a bidding war again. Smart money's buying real estate right now. So hopefully that helps you. And if that is you, 813-359-8990, call or text us. You can also go to duncanduo.com, message us. Again, we would love the opportunity to help you purchase before that happens. So I'm going to continue this conversation, talk more about the Tampa Bay real estate market after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. When we aren't on air, at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Always here to drop the best real estate knowledge. And guess what this week is? If you're a home seller, you need to go to duncanduo.com. You need to message us. You need to get your house on the market, okay? Because this week, sellers who list could potentially make $4,800 more, according to Realtor.com. Their homes sell 9 days faster and have 13.2% less competition. April 13th to 19th is the best week of the year to sell your home based on this statistical analysis. You could put a big chunk of money in your pocket. The timing from it is ideal, and it lines up with our market as well. We haven't gotten too hot yet, okay? You go under contract now, you're going to close in the summer, okay? A lot of the audience is going to start showing up pretty soon. First quarter historically is a slower real estate quarter. It starts to pick up in the second quarter. We've got some positive real estate news kind of circling out there with potential relief for property taxes, potential relief coming for mortgage rates, and So statistically, this is the best week of the year to sell your home. So if you've been thinking about selling your home, please call us 813-359-8990 or go to duncanduo.com. We can get your home on the market, get the most amount of eyes on it, get you the most amount of money. Or if you're someone that just doesn't want to even deal with that, we can bring you a cash offer as well. We've got a few different options, and our goal is to bring you the right solution for you. Full disclosure, cash offers right now, we get a lot of people call about them. And unfortunately, that is not going to put the most amount of money in your pocket. Back a few years ago when the market was really hot, cash offer buyers, hedge funds, some of the largest institutional investors, even my own fund personally, could take a little bit more risk on a house because market prices were going up. We're not seeing that now. I'm certainly predicting it for next year. But again, there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then. So the people that are out there buying homes for cash right now, they're not going to give you a retail offer. They have to make money. So if they're going to make money on your house, they've got to buy it at a price enough to where they can fix it up, put it on the market, handle all the closing costs, handle all the repairs, handle the holding costs, pay the commissions. So I want you to understand, if you're motivated, a cash offer is amazing. I mean, you can be quick and move on. It's like trading a car in or taking something to a pawn shop. Okay. You're not going to get the same amount of money that you'd get in a retail store. You're not going to get the same amount of money as if you put an ad out and went through the process of spending a few months trying to sell it. It just doesn't work that way. So, especially as the market is corrected, those cash offer buyers are now a lot more conservative with their offers. They're just not as aggressive. We're seeing stuff today where people are going to have to take massive haircuts. So we're willing to bring you a cash offer, but I want to be honest and tell you the likelihood of you accepting it is slim, especially if you think that there's any fantasy land chance if you get an offer like your neighbor got a few years ago when the market was crazy and a cash offer buyer paid full price because prices were rising so much that when they sold it in 90 days, even if they did nothing to it, they'd make money. That's just not the market that we're in at this time. So if you've got a home that needs a lot of work, that may be a path where a cash offer makes sense because you don't want to have to go through the hassle of making repairs, or you don't have the money to make the repairs, or you don't want to deal with financing or the traditional process of selling a home. All those things make getting a cash offer make sense. But if you're a regular homeowner that's got a home in pretty good condition, you don't have some sort of major push to have to sell, the number that you're going to get is probably not going to make you happy. Okay. Or if the number you get does make you happy, there's terms and conditions. Either you're not going to get all your payment at once, they're going to break it up into multiple payments, or they're going to pay you part of it when they sell the home to the next buyer, or they're going to charge you some astronomical amount of fees. I had somebody tell me the other day, I got this guy giving me, $400,000 for my house. I looked at the contract, it was like 12% in selling fees. It's like, that's not really $400, dude. That's, $350. Do the math. It's not a vanity game. It's a math business game. Look, do the math. Compare apples to apples. That guy's not really giving you the same offer as somebody that's going to give you, $355 or $360 for your house with no fees. Okay. You're letting vanity, what's more important to you? The money do you actually put in your pocket and do some freaking math, or the number you get to lie to your friends about that you sold the house for that isn't really true because they took away a bunch of money in fees. So again, do the math, read the contract. It's probably the biggest mistake I see home buyers and home sellers make when they sell to cash offer people is they don't read anything. They look at the number. Oh, it's a $400,000 offer. They don't read the terms. And they get to closing and it's a much lower number than they could have got if they'd have sold traditionally. Most real estate buyers and sellers don't really read or understand the contract. And frankly, there's a lot of real estate agents that don't understand them either. There's a lot of real estate agents that don't even own houses. So proceed with caution with who you choose to use, which company you decide to partner with, but also read your contract, especially when you're dealing with the cash offer situations. Compare apples to apples, get the math, do the math. And if you're not great at math, use your phone, use a spreadsheet, do something, figure out what they're charging you, what the closing costs are, how they're going to pay you, how you're going to get paid, what the guarantees are, when can it close, know all those things. And also, if they have a low escrow deposit or they want to have an assignable contract, they're not really wanting to buy your house. They're wanting to find somebody to buy your house while they lock it up and make the difference. They make the vig on you. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about wholesalers and what wholesalers do. And I'm not talking about the big fund buyers. The big fund buyers that you see doing a lot of advertising, those are legitimate buyers. They're going to buy and close in your home. They're just going to charge you a lot of fees, or they're going to make you jump through some hoops, and they're still going to make you negotiate on repairs. But we're going to talk about wholesalers, because there's a lot of people right now getting tricked into deals with wholesalers, and they don't really understand it or read the contract. And I want to talk about that after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show. The real estate market brings a whole slew of entrepreneurs that have different business models, different perspectives, and different ways to either, quote unquote, help sellers or to help themselves. And historically, wholesalers don't have a great reputation for truthfully representing the best interest of the client. A wholesaler is not someone who really intends to buy your home. Okay. So there's a difference between somebody like me. I don't do wholesaling. Okay. My funds, we don't, when we bring in a cash offer, our goal is to bring you either a cash offer from us and our fund, or a cash offer from a large institutional investor. Okay. That will close on your house. Okay. That intends to do their due diligence and close and wants to buy your house. Okay. So how to differentiate a wholesaler from an institutional investor. Okay. Institutional investor is usually going to have a name that you can Google and figure out who they are. Okay. They're backed by an enormous hedge fund, typically. Okay. It's not going to be someone's individual name. All right. They're also going to put up a reasonable amount of escrow. The smaller the escrow deposit, the more likely that your buyer really doesn't intend on selling your house. I see escrow deposits at $100 or $500 or even $1,000 sometimes, and they're cash. If they're cash, they're going to put up and they really intend on buying your house, you're going to put up a more reasonable escrow. Those small escrow amounts tend to tell you that it's likely a wholesaler. There's another portion in the contract that's called an assignability clause. An assignability clause allows that person to sell the contract to somebody else. They flip the paper. Okay. So what a lot of wholesalers will do, and these are the guys that are going to knock on your door. They're going to be the smooth talkers. They're not going to have a lot of proof about their ability to buy your home. You're not going to be able to Google their company name and see that they own a lot of real estate. You're not going to be able to find out that they're attached to some huge billion-dollar company. They're likely a hustler. They're a street hustler. They're a guy that goes door to door and tries to find deals. And then they lock the deal up and they say, well, Mr. Seller, I need 90 days or 60 days to close on your house. No one with cash needs that long. Okay. They're asking for a long time, and they're going to put an assignability portion in the contract. And you're probably not going to read it. So what they do is they put your home under contract. They give you $100 or $500 or $1,000, throwaway escrow money that's not changing anyone's life. They're not really going to do a lot of due diligence, and they're going to take that contract and they're going to shop it around to other retail investors, and they're going to try and make a vig on you. So an example would be they go and again, I don't do this. So if somebody gets a cash offer from my fund, I don't do this. We close. Same with a lot of institutional investors. So I'm giving you this advice to help you pick through this so that you don't make a mistake. I cannot tell you how many times we get calls from people saying, I'm under contract with this guy, and I have been for 3 months, and he's cash, and he's supposed to. And then you look at the contract, it's like, did you read this? Did you talk to somebody? Did you get a professional's help? Did you get advice? Because you should have never agreed to this. Why would you agree to this? Because the person's a smooth talker, because the person's really nice, and they build great trust and rapport, but that person intends on taking that contract and then maybe going out and making $5, $10, $20, $30, $50,000. Somebody buys the contract from them, so they go and lock your $450,000 house up and say, "Oh, close, I'll give you $360." Then they find somebody else to buy it for $380. Then they assign the contract to that person. They make their $20, and then that person's meant to close. Okay, you just gave away $20,000. When in reality, if you hired a really great marketing real estate agent, you're going to get all of that money. You're certainly potentially going to pay some commission or fees, but you're going to put more money in your pocket, and you're going to have more transparency. Okay. So, wholesaling, I work with a lot of them. They certainly do, especially in a lot of distress situation, help the market. There are a lot of legitimate ones. There are a lot of ones that I trust that I think do a great job. And then just like real estate agents, there's a lot of them that are unscrupulous. And we find it happen all the time that a client gets locked up with somebody unscrupulous, a rookie wholesaler, doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't have a list of buyers, doesn't know how to shop it properly, and ends up, basically causing client a lot of grief and never really actually intending on closing. So if you ever do get someone like that, you really do need to read the contract. You need some professional help. And even if you don't talk to a real estate agent, talk to a lawyer, ask a lawyer to review it. Ask for some time before you sign the contract. Of course, they're going to do everything they can to prevent you because they want to make their, $5, $10, $15, $20, $50,000 on you. They're do everything they can to convince you why you don't need to do that. But anyone that's legitimate, anyone that is truly admirable will give you the opportunity to be able to look into it a little bit more and answer your questions. So when you're dealing with wholesalers, it can be great. There's, like I said, there's some great ones. And then it can be very challenging because you can get stuck into something you didn't agree with someone completely inexperienced, and there's very, very little regulation on them. There's no licensing, there's no compliance, there's no code of ethics for real estate wholesalers. It's literally like the wild, wild west. So you have to be really cautious about going into contract with somebody you can't prove definitively has the ability and the intention to buy the property. A lot of them don't intend to buy it. They want to they want to put your home under contract with some long inspection period. They're not inspecting your house. They're just asking for a long inspection period so they have more time to find a buyer and they can make money on you. Okay. So that's real estate wholesaling 101. If you ever run into those situations, we're glad to look at it and see how we can give you advice, but I would encourage you to run from it and just call us instead. Go to duncanduo.com, call us at 813-359-8990. Plug in your information and we'll do our best to find a legitimate buyer that intends to close to help you get to your next real estate step. I know I talked about this before, but we're always on our socials at the Duncan Duo on all the social channels. Again, that is at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. So if you want to stay up to date on what's going on in real estate, that is the easiest place to stay up to date on everything that we talk about and everything that is going on in the real estate market. I want to talk next to people that are thinking about doing a short sale. There are a small number of consumers out there that are in distress. Either they didn't have flood insurance last year, they've lost their job, maybe they're a federal employee that got laid off and they can't make their payments. They're behind on their mortgage. They owe more on it than it's worth. Now, we've had a historical run-up in values that have paused over the last couple of years. So if you bought, and let's just assume you didn't do any refinancing. If you bought in 2018, you're probably good. You bought in 2019, you bought in 2020, even 2021, you're probably good. Okay? And your lender will likely do what's called forbearance. So if you're struggling, you can't make your payment, you fall a little behind, call your lender. Don't just put your head in the sand. Call your lender. They'll work with you. If you have a decent amount of equity, they'll probably do forbearance with you to hope you get back on your feet. Banks, the Fed, nobody really wants foreclosures. They don't want to own the property. They want money. Okay. So foreclosures are never going to be the thing that they were back in the Great Recession, ever. The fix is in. They fixed it. Okay. They're not going to foreclose on people at the same pace. They're going to do everything they can to either sell the asset, give you forbearance until you get back on your feet because you've got equity, because they know the second they start foreclosing on homes, this domino effect. It inhibits their ability to loan. It inhibits appraisals. It pulls values down across the board. It just guts all these major financial institutions. So they use forbearance. COVID made them, figure that out. So if you're in that situation, you've got a short-term blip, call your lender. Have a conversation with them, see about forbearance. Secondly, if you aren't, in that position, let's say that you don't have equity. Let's say that you're really behind. Let's say that you haven't been able to find a job. Let's say you've done forbearance and they're done with you doing forbearance, okay? You should look at a short sale. We help customers avoid foreclosure, okay? And we help customers improve their credit by doing it that versus letting it go all the way to foreclosure. If you are in distress, if you're someone who owes more on the home than it's worth, AKA you either refinanced, okay, took out money, took out equity, or you bought it, maybe 2022, 2023, 2024, and you've had to move. Maybe you got laid off. Maybe you're, in the military or defense department. Maybe you've got to be PCS'd out. All those things can happen, and lenders will work with you. And the real estate agent's fees are covered by the lender. If we help a client do a short sale, our services to market that property and to get paid will get paid for by the bank. They won't get paid for by the consumer. We work with some short sale negotiators, so you get to have full transparency about what's going on. We always encourage you talking to a lawyer about your options. Every situation's different, but a short sale can be a way for somebody to recover a little bit quicker. So if you're in distress, behind on your payments, you've run out, you've used your forbearance, and you have to move, or you just don't see your home getting back to value, or a common one right now, your home took on some water. Your home got flooded. You didn't have flood insurance. And you've tried to make the repairs yourself, and now you're kind of stuck. All of those things are reasons why a bank will look at it and say, okay, we'll work with you on this, all right? They don't want to go all the way to foreclosure because then you abandon the home. Then the home starts getting deferred maintenance. They know the domino effect that comes from a foreclosure. That home will pull the values down in the neighborhood. It'll attract vagrants. It'll hurt their other assets, the other homes they've loaned on. They don't want to do that. Okay, they want to sell it before it turns into an eyesore and becomes a domino effect of pulling values down in a neighborhood or a city. They learned their lesson. Okay, the foreclosure crisis crushed our real estate market. It's the biggest obstacle that now big banks will avoid because they know that's the thing that crushes our market. They will do everything they can to avoid foreclosure and work with you because they do not. They know a short sale will also bring them more money than a foreclosure. We're a judicial foreclosure state, meaning foreclosure takes a long time. They've got to hire lawyers. They've got to go through court. They've got to jump through a bunch of hoops. And all that time, bills are piling up on the house. Taxes are going in arrears. Okay, the maintenance isn't there. The utilities go off. Mold happens. Leaks happen. Vagrants happen. All those things they want to avoid. They want to do a short sale. They want to help you. So if that's you, go to DuncanDuo.com. Fill out a home value request, fill out a cash offer, whatever it is. When we reach out, just tell us that you're behind, and we'll get a short sale experienced agent assigned to you to help you get to your next step so that you can recover quickly. There are people we helped today that did short sales in the past. You can recover. You can recover within a few years doing a short sale. There's plenty of people that do that. We'd love to help you do it. Again, DuncanDuo.com. And I'm going to be back wrapping up with our last segment after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. Andrew Duncan, the Duncan Duo team at LPT Realty. If you're a real estate agent, man, I met a lot of agents this week at the Hometown Titan event at Manatee Theater. I really enjoyed it. And I want to talk in this last segment to my real estate agents and entrepreneurs out there and give them some tips on some things they can do to improve their business. And if you're a real estate agent that's struggling, you need coaching, you need accountability, you need a new system, you need leads, whatever it is. We are looking for agents, and we're looking for listing agents. We're growing the listing side of our business. I think I tripled my advertising and lead generation spend, doing a massive amount of streaming TV commercials right now, locked up a deal with a large portal for exclusivity on seller leads, and of course my deal with the Lightning and all the other things that we do. So we are looking for listing agents right now, and if that is you, go to jointheduo.com. There's a little bit of a process for you to get certified onto our listing team, but we are looking for some agents with some listing experience. If that is you and you've seen our company dominate in the listing space in Tampa Bay and you want to be a part of a massive advertising growing company, Go to jointheduo.com. Again, that is jointheduo.com. So, but before I talk about that anymore, I want to give you some tips. If you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling, if you are a real estate agent and you're struggling, I gave 5 tips this week at the Homes on Titan event with 2 college brothers moving, and I want to give them to you now. And the very first one for salespeople is that salespeople typically have very poor time management skills, and they chase squirrels and they get distracted. Turn off the notifications on your phone if you want to get more productive. The notifications on our phone constantly distract us. You get a notification if somebody tweeted something, or somebody sent you a DM, or they posted something on Instagram, or somebody messaged you on Facebook, or somebody texted you or WhatsApped you. It doesn't matter what it is. Turn off your notifications, because while your notifications are on, you're a slave to your phone. I would tell you to reverse that trend and put all of those things on your time. It doesn't mean that you won't go to Instagram. It doesn't mean that you won't go to X. It doesn't mean that you won't use those services. You're just doing it on your time instead of constantly being interrupted during times when you should be productive. I believe that there's an addiction to instant gratification, and that addiction to instant gratification holds a lot of people back from accomplishing their goals and dreams. So turn off your notifications and become more productive. Because again, every time you get interrupted and you get sucked into something, you're making money for someone else instead of for your family. Double the number of people you communicate with and triple the number of times that you communicate to them. Communication is more important than it's ever been. People are distracted. You've got to talk to and communicate with more people. Whether that means you're calling more people, whether that means you're texting more people, emailing more people, doing more on social media to attract a larger audience. It doesn't matter, but you need to double your audience and triple the number of times you communicate with them if you want to be successful. Make videos for social media. If I were to start my business over today, I've sold $3 billion in real estate, created generational wealth for my family running a business here in Tampa Bay, and I did a lot of it right here on this radio station, a lot of it through mass media, radio, TV, billboards, the lightning. If I were to start my business over today versus starting it 20 years ago, I'd probably take a different path, and I'd put a lot of emphasis on social media, because you have the ability for free, just by being a personality, just by recording videos, to get business that historically people like me have had to spend a lot of money to generate. So I would probably tell people to start there first before they start spending money. Become a master salesperson and become a master marketer on social media. Make videos. The reason why videos matter is because it's what all the algorithms want. When you're posting on any of the social channels, even your friends and family aren't seeing most of your posts because it doesn't fit the content that the algorithm wants to promote. People want videos. They want short form videos. They want reels. Okay. They want TikToks. They want short videos. If you're really compelling and really entertaining, then maybe YouTube might get you some people. But realistically, in my opinion, start with short form videos. Start with posting videos about yourself. And here's the thing. People are so self-conscious about what they look like that it holds them back from doing video because they're worried what people might say or think about them. People are too worried about themselves. People are worried too much about what they look like to care about what you look like. Just do the videos. Don't make them perfect. You're not a newscaster. Just go out, promote yourself, promote your business, be your best marketer. If you own a business, you're a real estate agent, you're a marketer first. You're not a real estate agent until you have business, okay? You're a real estate practicer. You need business. You need clients, okay? Videos are free. There's only one of you. Make videos about things you're passionate about. Talk about the real estate market. Don't make it all business. Weave in some personal stuff. Invest in yourself. Get out to educational events like the event I spoke at this week. One of the keys to my success was I got around to events. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from other people. And then last but not least, get around more successful people. If you're a salesperson, the more successful people you get around, they'll lift you up. They'll give you ideas. They'll help you grow. So hopefully those tips are great for you if you're a business owner, a salesperson, or a real estate agent. And like I said, if you're a real estate agent looking for a new opportunity, hit us up at jointheduo.com. Share that website with somebody you know that's struggling in real estate that needs a pick-me-up. Again, jointheduo.com. And thanks for tuning in, and have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay.